Okay, so we're going to focus on some alignment today. So starting in standing, heels under sitting bones, feet are hip distance apart. So the heels drop down straight from the center of the back pockets, not way out here. Crown of the head towards the ceiling, chin level, back of the neck long. Inhale on an exhale. Really feel the heels reach down, crown of the head reach up, elongating your body. We're going to shift the weight towards the ball of the foot and then towards the heel without lifting the toes or the heels, exploring the range of where you could be, finding a place where the weight's equal between the heel and ball of foot, bringing your hands then to the widest part of your hips, rotating your thigh bones in and then straight ahead. Can you feel that movement at the hip sockets as you rotate the thigh bones in? Kneecaps look towards each other and then kneecaps straight ahead. Coming to a place where the kneecaps are straight ahead. One hand on pubic bone, one hand on tailbone. You're going to tuck your tail and then lift your tail. Exhale, tuck your tail and lift your tail. You could also think about lifting your pubic bone up and pulling your sacrum down, and then pulling your sacrum up and dropping the pubic bone. Finding a place where if your pelvis were a bowl of soup, you're not pouring out your soup anywhere. Maybe feeling a little bit of work in the abdominals. Hands to the rib cage. Glide your ribs to the right and to the left. A little bit of mobility for the rib cage here. You might not have much movement. You're going to leave the pelvis where it is and just glide the rib cage side to side. Finding a place where ribs are stacked over pelvis. Still thinking about the rib cage. You're going to ring your bell. If your rib cage were a bell, you're going to lift the bottom of the front and drop the back, drop the front and lift the back. Again, thinking about that rib or that bell shape of the rib cage. Finding a place where rib cage is stacked over pelvis, heels reach into the floor. Head comes in line with body, chin towards throat. Not mashed back, just gently. Try to get the head over the shoulders. And in that position, interlace the fingers, hands behind the head, elbows swing forward. We'll inhale, lift all 10 toes, and exhale, lower. Inhale, lift the toes, feeling the heel and ball of foot reach into the floor. Exhaling to lower, feeling the power in your arches without rocking back and forth. So you're standing your ground. One last time, we'll go to a heel raise. We'll inhale up onto the ball of the foot. Exhale, lower back down, heels just barely dust the floor. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. So imagining you've got a couple of ladybugs under your heels. You're not going to crush them. The heels stay lined up with the center of the back pockets as they lift. So notice if your tendency is to roll to the pinky toe side of the foot and let the heels splay outward, right? So we're going to keep them straight up in the middle one last time. Shoulders and back and hips against a wall. We're going to slide down our wall into a little squat. You can switch your hands to your hips at any time if hands behind the head gets too much. Think about, scan through your body and think about your train tracks, shoulders, hips, thigh bones, kneecaps, lower legs in line like train tracks. One last time. We're going to combine those two. Inhale up onto the ball of the foot. Exhale, slide down your wall. Heels are up, lined up with the middle of the back pockets. Straighten the knees, lower the heels. Inhale, lift. Exhale, slide down your wall, maybe just a little, maybe a lot, keeping the heels up, lined with the center of the back pockets, back against the wall. Nice. So if you're doing a smaller squat, that's fine. You're probably going to do a few more. If you're doing a deeper squat, you might do a few less. The goal is the heels are stable, the feet are stable up on the ball of the foot as you move into your squat. One last time. Prancing. We're going to bend the right knee, roll up onto the ball of the right foot, and then we're going to switch. Press the right knee back, right heel down, but don't press your ladybug as you bend the left knee. And switch. And switch. The goal is if you had a table in front of you, nobody would know you're moving. So pelvis is very stable. Train tracks are lined up. So just notice what the hips and pelvis are doing. One last time, lowering both heels down. We're gonna step the feet wide, really wide as you comfortably can. Rotate the thigh bones out in the hip socket. So the thigh bones are rotated out in the hip socket. If you were to imagine the center of your hip, the center of your knee, and the center of your ankle, pointing at 10 and 2 o'clock on a clock, head, shoulders, and butt against a wall. We're gonna inhale, slide down the wall into a little squat. Stay here just where it's comfortable for you. Notice where the thigh bones and kneecaps end up. Have they collapsed in? Are they off of the 10 and 2? Can you press them out, keep them aiming towards 10 and 2 on your clock? Come back up tall. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. So if the hips are tight or the inner thighs are tight, this will be a little harder. You might feel more stretch on the inner thigh or even tightness in the back of the hip. Just go to what works for you today. Notice your arches. They should be present the whole time. They shouldn't disappear as you squat. One last time. And then we're going to turn everything to the left. Again, really scanning through alignment. So the right heel is down, right knee presses back, front knee is bent directly over shin. So right now it's just a calf stretch. Scan through your train tracks. If your foot is straight ahead, when you're straight ahead, feet hip distance apart, it should be straight ahead here. If you have a little turnout and your lower leg and your foot's turned out, it's still going to be turned out here. You're going to pour your soup out behind you and bring your trunk upright. Maybe just holding this squat. Maybe rolling up onto the ball of the right foot and holding it there. Maybe coming down into a little lunge and holding it there. We want this back thigh, this right thigh, straight up and down. If I wanted to go any lower, I'd have to get my feet a little further apart, otherwise I'm going to start driving over this front knee, which I don't want. Coming back up, press the right heel back, right heel down, right knee back. We'll rotate back to the center, turn around to the right side. Train tracks. Left heel down, left knee presses back. If your foot's attached on your body straight, when you're straight ahead, it's going to be pointing straight ahead here, not twisted to the side. If you've got turnout in your lower leg, you might have a little turnout in your foot. Pour your soup out behind you, bring your trunk upright. Maybe you hold the calf stretch. Maybe you lift the ball of the foot. Maybe you come down into a lunge. Maybe part way. Maybe if your feet far enough apart to come a little deeper. Shin bone on the right, thigh bone on the left, vertical. Coming back up, pressing the left heel down, left knee straight. Come back to center. We're going to come into lying down. So either get down however you want or cross one leg behind you. Hands can stack in front of you. Use your arms if you need to get down. Come to a knee, flatten the foot, sit down. Again, you can always use your hands. We're going to lie down, taking a moment to scan through your body. Center of the back of the head on the mat. Back of the neck is long. If you need a little support under your head, fold a towel or small pillow, that is fine. Widen the collarbones on an exhale. Let the shoulders relax onto the mat. Think about the center of the hips, thigh bones, knees, lower legs lining up, heels line up with the middle of the back pockets. We'll exhale, roll your pelvis back, flattening your back, pouring your soup out towards your head. Inhale, pour your soup out towards your feet. Exhale, roll back. Inhale, roll forward. So you've got your train tracks lined up, and you're just rolling your pelvis on the femurs, right? Creasing, opening the crease as you roll back, closing the crease of the hip as you roll forward, finding that movement in the spine, coming back to center, pouring your soup out to the right and to the left. Feel the heaviness in the pelvis, leading you to left and then right. Keep breathing. One last time, come back to center. You're going to pour your soup out around the rim of your bowl. Maybe starting with a small circle, slowly making it bigger. Finding movement in the spine, pelvis, and hips. And then reverse your circle. Nice. One last time. Coming back to center, finding a place where you're not spilling your soup anywhere, so neutral pelvis. Bring the feet together, knees together, so they're touching. So you're no longer hip distance apart, your legs are together. Neutral pelvis, you're gonna inhale, exhale, and on the exhale, sit bones together, hip bones together. Close the circle at the bottom of your rib cage. So engaging your core muscles, you're gonna keep that work happening as you inhale, knees apart, exhale, knees together. So number one, stable spine. Number two, core stays engaged, so your belly stays in. It's not popping up towards the ceiling. We're not pushing pressure outward. And then we're rotating at the hip joints again. You could put your hands, thumbs right in the crease of your hips to feel that. Come back to center, single leg. Inhale, right leg rotates out to the side, exhale, center. Left leg, inhale, out to the side, exhale, center. So stabilizing pelvis, differentiating movement from the hip joint. One last time to each side. Coming back to center, still in neutral, still core engaged, arms by your side, legs into tabletop. If you felt your belly pop, pressure up towards the ceiling or your back arch, you're going to use an exhale. Pull yourself back together. Inhale, tap the right toe down, exhale, lift. And then left. Again, stable spine, core engaged. So your belly is moving away from your waistband, away from the ceiling or holding its ground, but never rising up towards the ceiling. Use the exhale to make it harder. Bend your elbows, harder still, straight arms, harder still, reach an arm overhead as you lower the leg. It could be same arm or opposite arm, it doesn't matter too much. Sometimes it's just more confusing to try to do what I tell you to do rather than just what comes natural. To make it harder still, extend the leg out straight, starting up high and exploring. The lower you go, the heavier that straight leg gets. Right? Longer levers are heavier. One last time. Lower everything back down and rest. Nice job. Feet together, knees together, neutral pelvis. Inhale, relax. Exhale, sit bones together, hip bones together. Close the circle at the bottom of the rib cage so core is engaged. Neutral pelvis, legs into tabletop, thighs squeeze together. You might stay here, or if you have the flexibility, extend the legs, maybe a little, maybe all the way. So right now your legs are together, kneecaps are pointing straight ahead. There's no turnout. We're going to inhale, lower from the hip joints. Exhale, lift. Stable spine, abdominals stay engaged. We're not putting pressure through the abs up towards the ceiling. We're going to use the exhale to help us. Explore how much harder that gets the more you lower your legs. Maybe you just go a couple inches, maybe you go a lot. One last time. Lower the feet back down. We're going to add a C curve to it. We're going to inhale the arms overhead. Exhale, hands to ceiling, chin towards throat. Come into a C curve if it works for you. Palms down, stretch the fingertips towards the foot of the mat. Otherwise, just stay down flat, legs in tabletop. Extend them to where you can. They're still in parallel. Lower both legs and lift. In some ways, this is harder because you're lifting the top and bottom half of your body. In some ways, it's a little easier because you've got a counterbalance. One last time. Lower everything back down and rest. Nice job. Bringing the feet hip distance apart again. So, oh my gosh. Okay, hip distance apart, heels line up with sitting bones, arms by your side, palms down, fingertips stretched towards the foot of the mat. Press the arms into the mat. Back of the neck long. If you have head support, take it out for bridging. We're going to inhale. On an exhale, press straight up into a bridge. Inhale, hold. Exhale, lower. So we're in neutral. Inhale, hold. Exhale, press down and lift. Inhale, hold. Exhale, lower. As you do this, start to scan through your body. Shoulders, hips, thigh bones, knees, lower legs. Think about those train tracks staying lined up when you're down and when you're up. One last time this way. We're going to add a pelvic tilt. We're going to inhale. On an exhale, pour your soup out towards your head. Imagine peeling your spine up off the mat, one vertebrae at a time. Reach your knees towards the wall at your feet. As you lower back down one vertebrae at a time, could you imagine reaching your sitting bones towards your heels? When you land, you have a tilt to release. Exhale, tilt, press down, peel yourself up. Inhale, hold. Exhale, walking back down. On the next couple, scan through your train tracks. Exhale, tilt, press down and lift. Knees stay lined up with hips and ankles. Walk back down through your spine, release your tilt. One more this way. Exhale, tilt, press down and lift. Hold, train tracks. Lowering back down, release the tilt. You could stay with that or we're going to add a march. Exhale, tilt, press down and lift. Maybe if it works for you, inhale, pick the right foot up like you're marching. Exhale, lower. Inhale, left foot up. Exhale, lower. We'll all come back down. So if you don't have the march, just hold the bridge for a long time. Exhale, tilt, press down and lift. As long as you can, maybe you can hold it the whole time we're up here marching. Lowering back down one vertebrae at a time, releasing your tilt. Exhale, tilt, press down and lift, train tracks. Everybody stays lined up as we add the march. Nice. One last time. Exhale, tilt, press down and lift. Adding a march. Nice. Lowering back down. We're going to move into hundreds. So option A is head on the mat. Option B is going to be at a C curve. Inhale the arms overhead. Exhale, hands to ceiling, chin towards throat. Come into a C if it works for you. Palms about 2 inches above the floor. Reaching towards the feet, legs in tabletop. Rotate the thigh bones out. So heels pressed together, diamond shape between the legs. If you have the flexibility, extend the legs. And you can even lower them down. We're going to breathe in for 5 and out for 5. If it works for you, add the arm pump. The only thing moving is the arms from the shoulder. So the torso is not flopping like a jellyfish. No floppy legs. No floppy arms. Legs wherever it works for you. What about the abdominal wall? Never driving pressure up towards the ceiling. Containing on the inhale and on the exhale, belly away from waistband. Last one. Nice job. Lower everything back down. Extend the legs out straight if that works for you. Bring the legs about hip distance apart. And let's just explore the rotation. You're going to rotate your thigh bones out and then rotate your thigh bones in. So when you rotate your thigh bones out, the feet point out to the side, the kneecaps point a little bit to the side. Rotate your thigh bones in, feet and kneecaps point towards each other. Rotate out. You can put the hands at the crease of the hips to feel the movement. Notice if one leg has more movement than the other. Kneecaps straight towards the ceiling. Think about a powerful magnet between the inner thighs pulling the legs together, high up in the inner thigh. So we're in parallel. That means we've got the kneecaps towards the ceiling. We're not rotated in or out. We've got the magnet between the inner thighs. So your inner thighs are working. If they're not working, bring the thighs towards each other more. Feet may or may not touch. Arms by your side, thumbs up. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to ceiling. Chin towards throat, coming up into your C curve. Maybe that's all you've got and you hold it there. Every exhale, imagine going further. Or maybe on an exhale, you can roll your pelvis up and over your femurs, reaching towards the wall at your feet, and then rolling back down. So do what works for you today. Inhale, stretch, really lengthen, magnet between the inner thighs. Exhale, hands to ceiling, chin to throat, holding the exhale, or holding, if that's what works for you, using the exhale to work a little further, or using the exhale to roll all the way up. Either version, we're all going, our target is the same C curve. If we keep going, it's pelvis over femurs. So sometimes the reason you get stuck is because you're having a hard time switching. When you come to the C curve, that's rectus abdominis, abdominals, and then you have to go deeper to the front of the spine, find your hip flexors, roll the pelvis up over the femurs. One last time, lengthen on the inhale, exhale. When done well and correctly, this will never hurt your back. It never needs to hurt your back. None of these exercises should. Great, coming back down, fix your pants. If you need to, heels line up with sitting bones, arms by your side. Slide the left leg out, straight foot flexed. Think about that train track on the left. Right leg into tabletop. You can support the right thigh if you need to, if it's hard to hold it there. Step on the gas with the right foot. Extend that right leg as much as your hamstrings flexibility allows, keeping this thigh up at 90. Leg circles. Emphasis is going to be on coming up, across the body, down, around, and up. Stop. What's the left leg doing? Press down from the hip. Right leg comes up, across, down, around, and up. You could start with a small circle. Make it bigger if it works for you. No clicking, clunking, popping, clanging, or pain. Moving at the hip socket, not floppy knees. And then we're going to reverse, coming up, out to the side, down, around, and up. Left leg, foot flexed, press down. Right leg stepping on the gas. This leg is like an arrow out of the hip socket. Bend the right knee, slide the right heel out. Flex the foot, press down, train track. Left leg tabletop, support the thigh if you need to. Left leg steps on the gas. Extend the leg to where your hamstrings allow. Notice the difference from side to side. This left leg is going to come up to the right, down, around, and up. 5 distinct circles. Really go for the up. Go for the up. Nice job. One last time. And then we're going to reverse. What's the right leg doing? It should be foot flexed in its train track, pressing down. Last one. Go ahead and lower the left foot down. We're going to roll up into sitting or get up however you want. Easier is knees bent. If you're up for the challenge, legs straight. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to ceiling, chin towards throat, rolling up into sitting, scooting your butt to the foot of your mat for rolling like a ball. Hands either wrapped behind thighs, one over each leg, or overlap the arms and pull yourself into a tight little ball. The knees are heading towards each other. They may or may not meet, but you should feel like you're working your inner thighs. So it's not mandatory that the thighs touch. Just know they're not flopped out on this one. It's not open leg rocker. Feet are on the floor. Find your flat back. Find your round back. Find your flat back, belly forward, chest to thighs. Find your round back. Keeping the length in the spine. We're going to go to a round back. We're going to walk back until we're at a balance point, feet floating off the ground. Find your flat back here. Find your round back. Find flat. Find round. We're going to stay round. Maybe this is it for you. If this is it for you, you could work on just holding here without using the arms. Let go with one arm, let go with the other, let go with both. Maybe you can add a little rocking, or maybe you could inhale, pour your soup out behind you, roll back. Exhale, roll up. The hope and the dream, rolling like a ball, not landing flat on your back. So think about pouring your soup out behind you to roll back. We're always going to stay off of the head and neck. You're just going to your shoulder blades. One last time. And then easy version, put the left foot down. Harder version, extend the left leg away. Right hand on the right ankle, left hand on the right knee. We're in a C curve. We'll roll back, either staying in a C curve or coming flat, whatever works for your body for single leg stretch. Check in with your train tracks, that's important. We pull the right leg in, hands can be behind the thigh if you need it. Left leg like an arrow out of the hip socket in its train track. The lower it goes, the harder it is. You're going to pull the right leg in, stretch the left leg out, and switch. You can add the pull, pull, and switch, pull, pull, or just keep a single pull, right? So either way, if the knee doesn't like being compressed this way, hands just go behind the thighs. Elbows are out to the side. If you're in a C, eyelashes parallel to the floor, gaze towards your thighs, last one. Both knees in, up in your C, rest if you need to, or stay flat. We stretch the arms and legs away, pull everything back in tight. Stretch away, pulling back in. The lower you send the arms and legs, the harder, but you're always in charge of your spine, pelvis, and abdomen. So stable spine, abdominals engaged. If you're not sure what your belly is doing, rest a hand on your belly and feel. Single straight leg stretch, legs towards the ceiling. Where can you reach? Left leg lowers down. Switch legs. You can either do the pull, pull, or just a single pull. Either up in your C or down flat. If you're up, eyelashes parallel to the floor. Look at your thighs, not your toes. Last one, lower everything back down. Nice job, we're almost done with these. Interlace fingers, hands behind head, swing the elbows forward. Neutral pelvis, relax for a breath in. Exhaling. Relax on the next inhale. Exhaling, sit bones together, hip bones together, close the circle at the bottom of the rib cage. Legs in tabletop, squeeze the thighs. Extend the legs to where you can. If it works for you, come up into a nice high C curve. Get those shoulder blades up off the mat. Exhale, get up a little higher. Inhale, lower both legs. Exhale, lift. So again, you're in charge of your spine, pelvis, and abdominal wall. If you're not sure what your belly is doing, rest your hand on your belly. We don't want to be shooting the button off our pants up towards the ceiling. We're holding our ground. Better to do a small motion well than a really big motion and your guts pushing up towards the ceiling. Go ahead and lower everything back down and rest. Crisscross. This is the only one you have to do a C curve for. Sit it out if it doesn't work for you. Legs in tabletop, hands behind the head. Exhale, come up into a nice high C. We twist to the right. Pull the right leg in, stretch the left leg out. Higher, easier, lower, harder. Think about your train tracks and switch. Come through the middle, shoulder blades off the mat, and switch. Shoulder blades stay off the mat. And switch. Good. And switch. Keep on going. And switch. Right, again, the higher the leg, the easier. The lower that straight leg goes, the heavier it is. One last time to each side. Lower everything back down and rest. Nice job. We're going to come into sitting again, either however you want, or inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to ceiling, chin to throat, C curve. We'll come into sitting with your feet about hip distance apart. If you have tight hamstrings, you're going to bend your knees. You could even sit on a rolled mat or towel, a little prop. So we're going to really try to get our pelvis up into that neutral position. So rather than sitting back on your sacrum, can you roll your pelvis forward? Find your sitting bones. It's almost like you're trying to pour your soup out in front of you, not dump it out behind you. So you might need to bend your knees a lot, which can make the thighs grippy. You're trying to keep them relaxed. Bend the knees, you can go a little wider, do what works for you. Hands out in front of you like Frankenstein, really long spine, spine stretch. Chin towards throat, we're gonna exhale, roll the pelvis back slightly, just a little. Imagine sliding the middle ring of your rib cage back, rounding your spine. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, we round. This is that C curve. It's not a big collapse. Inhale, tall. Exhale, round. Stay long, don't collapse. So the arms don't drop, your gut doesn't squish out in front of you. If you're not sure, rest a hand on your belly. So even though you're flexing, you're not shortening your spine. One last time. Nice, scoot your butt to the front of your mat. Open leg rocker. So feet are gonna be wide now. Our knees are gonna be wide, feet together. Your hands are gonna grab wherever you can reach. So it may be your ankles, it may be higher on your leg, it might be your pants actually. If you just put a ton of lotion on your legs, this one's pretty tough. I should warn you not to like lotion up before you do this one. So feet down on the mat, round back, flat back, just like rolling like a ball. Feel the difference. Round back is just your C curve, flat back, chest lift, belly forward. We're gonna come around, we're gonna stay round. We're gonna walk back to where we're balancing with our feet in the air. So you've got a little diamond shape between your legs, knees apart. Find your flat back, find your round back. We're gonna stay round. Maybe this is it for you. Maybe you can reach that right leg up and away. And then bring it back in, and then left. Now, if you can't even reach your legs, this is really hard. If you can't get a good grip on your ankle, it'll get better over time. If you want to make it harder still, try to send both legs up and away. If your hamstrings are super tight, this is a good stretch, but it will be hard. Are you keeping that round shape? Maybe you can just hold it there. Maybe keep holding it there if it works for you. I'm going to turn. Maybe you're in your round shape with your legs either up or bent. Maybe you can add a little rocking. Maybe you could even inhale, roll back. Exhale, roll up. Inhale, roll back. Exhale, roll up. So the hope and the dream is you are able to balance here. Right? Sometimes at the beginning you get stuck back here. Sometimes you can't make it all the way back up, just like rolling like a ball, only a bit harder. One last time. Only rolling if it works for your spine. Bring the feet down. Nice job. We'll roll back down onto our backs for corkscrew, and then we'll switch positions after this. Okay, scan through your body. Nice neutral pelvis, legs together, feet together. Legs in tabletop, squeeze the thighs. Extend the legs as much as you can without dropping the thighs. So it's better to have a bent knee with your thighs way up here than straight legs way down here. Okay, corkscrew. Arms press into the mat, squeeze the thighs together. Think about that powerful magnet. Corkscrew, we're gonna make a circle. We're gonna come up to the right, down, around and up. And then reverse. You bring your thighs up, roll over to the left, bringing the legs down, rolling up the right side of your body, coming to center, and reversing. So the smaller your circle, the more you're working on control. If it feels good to you, you can make your circle bigger. Right? It all depends on what works for you. One last time to the opposite side. Nice job. Go ahead and lower the feet back down. We're going to turn onto our right side. Move to the back edge of your mat with the head, shoulders, and hips. Legs to the front corner is easier. Legs in line with your body is a little more work. Stack your pelvis. Headlights on the pelvis straight ahead, shoulders straight ahead. Head relaxed on the arm or a pillow if you need it. We're going to lift the top leg up to hip height. So both heels reach away. You're lengthening your body. This top leg, we're going to reach the heel away, create space between rib cage and pelvis. Rotate the thigh bone out without rolling the pelvis back. So we're moving the thigh bone in the hip socket, point the toe. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Maybe point and lift, flex and lower on the foot. That's an extra flourish. Don't worry about it. It's not the most important part. More important, abdominals engaged. Sideways long, thigh bone rotated out. So we're moving at the hip socket, feeling it under the back pocket. Rest whenever you need to. Otherwise, we'll go into big circles next, but you will make sure to reset. Lift, lengthen, rotate out again. Big circles up, forward, brush past the other leg and reach back. You might need your hand on the mat for balance. Remember, you're not a paper doll. You have a front side and a back side. Can you find the space behind you? Go ahead and reverse your circles, 5 if you've got them. Over time, they will get bigger, but it's more important to keep the pelvis stacked, core engaged, and move at the ball and socket of the hip, not the pelvis. Rest if you need to, otherwise right into small circles. Lengthen, rotate out, 10 small circles forward, reach back. So most of us are really good at finding the space in front. Really think about reaching back. If you're keeping that turnout, most of the time that will help you to feel it in the back of the hip. Go ahead and reverse. So if you're feeling it more in the front of the hip, you're probably losing your turnout. You could take a peek at your foot, heel slightly lower than toe. Go ahead and rest everything. Nice job. Hand on the mat for balance. Both feet flexed, whether the legs are forward or in line with your body. We'll lift the top leg to hip height. Reach that top leg away. Right thigh, right leg tight, thigh, foot flexed. If it works for you, exhale, lift the bottom leg up. Inhale, lower. If it's too hard on the bottom hip, just skip this one. It should be hard on the top hip because it's working a ton after having done a bunch of work. If it's too hard on the bottom hip, it's just because the floor is too hard. It might be okay with more padding, but some hips just don't respond well to this, and that's fine. Go ahead and lower everything back down. In that case, you'd skip it. Double leg lift. Feet flexed, tight thighs. Keep the head and neck relaxed. Exhale, think about your zipper, pubic bone to rib cage, and we'll lift both legs. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Again, if it's too much on the bottom hip, skip it. It shouldn't feel bad. If you have enough padding and it works for your body, it won't feel bad. If your hips are a little irritable or if your floor is a little too hard, you don't have a thick enough mat, it'll feel pretty bad now and feel worse later. So skip it. One last time. Nice. Take the top leg forward. Give it a gentle little stretch. And we'll flip to the other side. Back edge of the mat with the shoulders, hips, and head. Legs to the front corner is easier. And legs in line with the body is harder. We'll lift the top leg up to hip height. Head is relaxed on the arm. Reach the top leg away. Create space between rib cage and pelvis. Rotate the thigh bone out in the hip socket without rolling the pelvis back. Point the toe. Lift and lower. Maybe point and lift, flex and lower. Come all the way down. Lift up, all the way down. Lift up. Breathing. Less important how high you go. More important, core engaged. Keep your alignment, pelvis stacked. Move at the ball and socket of the hip joint. You can rest briefly when you need to. Next, we go into circles. Reset first. Lengthen, rotate out. Big circles up, forward. Find the space behind you. You may need the hand on the mat for balance. Again, looking to feel this under the back pocket. Reverse when you're ready. If you feel it in the front of your hip, the most likely suspect is you've lost your turnout. Nice job. Last one. Go ahead and rest briefly if you need to. Small circles. Reset, lift, lengthen, rotate out. 10 small circles forward. And then 10 backwards. Again, remember to find the space behind you. I'm letting you count your own 10, right? So I know you guys can count to 10. I'd say lots of other stuff, but not the numbers. Just do what works. Go ahead and rest briefly. We'll flex both feet, tighten the thighs. Hand will be on the mat for balance. Lift the top leg to hip height. Reach the top leg away. Bottom leg, tight thigh, reach the heel towards the foot of the mat. If it works for you, exhale, lift the bottom leg up to the top. Inhale, lower. Think about that zipper. Use the exhale to lift. Inhale, lower. It's not about swinging your toes around, right? No cheating. Inner thigh, lift, lower. If it feels bad on the left hip, on the bottom hip, just skip it. Head, neck, and throat relaxed. One last time, lower both legs. Flex both feet, tight thighs. We're gonna lift both legs. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Again, if the bottom hip feels terrible, just skip this one. You could try more padding next time. Maybe get a thicker yoga mat or double up. What is your core doing? Are the head and neck relaxed? Nice. Take the top leg forward, give it a little rest. We're going to turn onto our bellies and press up to hands and knees. So make like a table. You could either be on your palms, fingertips straight ahead, thumbs stretched towards each other. Make a little space under your palms for your ladybugs. You could be on your fists or on your forearms with shoulders over elbows. Front of the shin flat. If the front of your shin is super tight today, you could roll up your mat or put a towel or some kind of prop under the front of the shins. We're going to exhale, round everything up towards the ceiling. Inhale, arch. Scan through your train tracks here. Are the shoulders and hips and lower legs lined up? And then we're just moving the spine, articulating 7 cervical, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar, 3 joints at each level. A whole bunch of moving parts, trying to get them all moving. Then you're going to come to what you imagine is good posture. So if you had laser beams on your sitting bones, they're shooting at the wall behind you. Laser beam on your breastbone is aimed at the wall in front of you. So we're not shooting up the floor, okay? Nice long spine. Head in line with body, chin towards throat so your gaze is down. We're going to hang out here, relax to breathe in without changing the shape of any of your body or changing the joint position. We're just going to exhale, sit bones together, hip bones together, close the circle at the bottom of the rib cage. Inhale, relax. Hopefully you felt the abdominals with that. Exhale, sit bones together, hip bones together, close the circle at the bottom of the rib cage. Inhale, relax. We're not going to relax after the next one. We'll exhale, sit bones, hip bones, rib cage, close. You've got that tension in your abdominal wall. You're going to keep it. Keep working. As you inhale, the rib cage has to expand a little. As you exhale, sit bones together, hip bones together, close the circle at the bottom of the rib cage a little more. As you breathe in, allow the rib cage to open, but not the belly to relax towards the floor. Exhale, sit bones, hip bones, rib cage connect. Relax. Keep the abdominal engagement. Breathe into the circle at the bottom of the rib cage. Exhale, close the circle at the bottom of the rib cage. So the hope and the dream is we're keeping the abdominals engaged, the core is working. We're going to add to that. We're going to inhale, slide maybe just the right leg, maybe right leg, left arm, reach away. Inhale, lower back down. Exhale, right arm, left leg. Could be just the leg. Inhale, lower back down. Number 1, core stays engaged. Number 2, spine and pelvis are stable, so you're not dumping to the side, twisting, or letting your suit dump right out in front of you or behind you, right? Stable spine and pelvis. You're going for length, so reach forward, reach back. Over time, height will come. Last one, coming into tall kneeling briefly. We're just going to do a couple of things in kneeling, and then we're going to get onto our belly. So if kneeling doesn't work for you, 2 things. You can sit this out. A little extra padding under your knees if you need it, a rolled yoga mat or towel. You are hip distance apart, ideally with your feet flat on the mat. If you're getting crampy, curl the toes. If you need something under the front of your shins, that's fine. Pour your soup out behind you. open the crease of the hips. Squeeze your bum to press your hips forward. So we're getting up tall from here and not from the back, right? So we're opening this crease of the hips. You may already feel a thigh stretch. Press the arms to your side. Reach the crown of the head to the ceiling. Inhale on an exhale. Sit bones, rib cage. Keep that core engagement. We'll inhale, hinge back. Exhale, come up tall. Thigh stretch. So maybe you hold the position, maybe you hinge back a millimeter, maybe you hinge back more. The goal is a straight line through the spine and hips. The cheat will be to duck your butt back and fold at the crease of the hips. It shouldn't feel awful on the knees. Last one. Then we're going to take the right leg forward, hip flexor stretch. Train tracks. Get that right foot forward, front shin vertical, back thigh vertical. Lift your pubic bone, pour your soup out behind you. Is your pelvis pointing straight ahead or your train tracks lined up? Take the left arm up, squeeze the left bum, press the left hip forward. Maybe add a little chest lift, looking for a stretch on the front of the left hip, the crease of the left hip, maybe the thigh, depending where you're tight. If you feel it in your knee or your back, pour your soup out behind you more. Go ahead and release. Take the left leg forward. Vertical thigh, vertical shin. Pour your soup out behind you. Squeeze your bum. We're opening the crease of the hip. The hip flexor is what we're aiming to stretch. Right arm up. Chest lifts slightly. Again, if you're feeling it in your back or your knee, pour your soup out behind you even more. So use the abdominals to lift the pubic bone. Nice. Go ahead and release. We're going to come down onto our bellies. Hands next to boobs, right under your shoulders. You can always slide your hands further forward or just put them by your sides if that doesn't work. We're going to rotate the thigh bones out. So you're on the inner edge of the kneecap, the big toe side of the ball of the foot. Think about the magnet between your inner thighs, pulling the top of the inner thighs towards each other. Maybe they touch, maybe they don't. Pull the elbows in towards each other, back towards your heels. The toes stretch towards the wall at your feet. You're going to inhale on an exhale. Sit bones together, hip bones together. Close the circle at the bottom of the rib cage. We're going to keep that engagement. Chin towards throat. Start to peel yourself up to your bra strap. Pull the elbows back. Stretch the toes behind you. Breastbone is reaching towards the wall in front of you. Maybe that's it for you. Keep the low back comfortable. Maybe powerful shoulders. Press the floor away and you roll up into your rocker shape. And then as you roll back down, the thighs might lift slightly. So thigh bones rotate out, toes reach away, elbows back. Peel up, maybe to your bra strap, maybe keep going, and then rocking back down. When done well and correctly, this should never hurt your back, and it shouldn't even feel like pressure in your low back. We're trying to distribute this back bend through the whole front side of the body, spine and hips, rather than dump it into our most mobile segments in the low back. So don't worry about how high you get. One last time, lower everything back down for swimming. Option A, arms by your side, palms up. Option B, cross the hands, forehead on hands. Option C, arms overhead like Superman. Either way, we're going to inhale on an exhale. Sit bones, hip bones, rib cage, connect. We're going to keep that connection so you're not pushing your gut into the floor at any point. We're going to inhale. On an exhale, toes reach away, fingertips reach away if they're overhead. On the next exhale, lift everything you own up off the mat. Just hold it there. So if your arms are by your side, roll the shoulder blades back. Could you press the hands up to the ceiling? If the hands are under your forehead, just hold it here. It's half the fun. Forehead is glued to hands, elbows are off the mat. If your arms are overhead, thumbs up, stretch towards the wall in front of you, anchoring the shoulder blades to the pelvis. And then maybe you add a little leg kick or opposite arm and leg swimming. Quick little movements from the thigh and from the hip joint, from the hip joint and from the shoulders. Oh gosh, I can't even talk. Nice, lower everything back down, turn your head to one side, hands under shoulders, press up to hands and knees. Exhale, round everything up to the ceiling, a little counter stretch. Nice. Coming into side sitting for mermaid. Last one. So you're gonna have your right leg forward, left leg back. If your hips are really tight and you're tipping over, you can prop something like a cushion, a yoga block, a rolled mat under your right butt, right? It'll make it a little harder to lean over, but you don't want to be compressed in the hips and you don't want to feel strain in your knees. So that goes under your right butt. Either way, we're just going to level out the pelvis. Right hand on the mat in front of the shoulders, left hand reaches for the ceiling, left shoulder blade anchors to rib cage. We inhale, stretch over. Left butt reaching towards the mat, left arm reaching to the wall overhead without shrugging your shoulder up into your ear. We lift up to the ceiling, grab the front of the left shin, right arm comes up. We're not dumping over to the left, we're lifting up and over. Nice, looking for a stretch on the side body, coming up and over to the right side. Looking for a stretch on the left side body. Have you dumped everything forward? Are you facing straight ahead? Lifting up and over to the left side, no dumping. Go ahead and release. We're gonna switch legs. So if you're on a prop, take it out. The hope and the dream, we sit back and flip the legs to the other side. You may very well need to use your hands for that. If your hips are tight or your knees feel a lot of strain, you're gonna prop your prop under your left butt. We're gonna level out our bowl of soup so we're not dumping it over to the side. Left hand just in front of the shoulder, right hand reaches up. We stretch over to the left side. Right butt reaches for the mat, right arm reaches for the wall overhead. We're facing straight ahead. Inhale up towards the ceiling, no dumping to the right side, we're going up and over. And if you're not sure the difference, try going up and over and then just dump everything over. Feel how that's different. Over to the left side again, reach, and then to the right side. We're gonna come into standing. You can do that however you want, or come through tall kneeling. One leg forward, curl the toes under, exhale and stand. You can use your hands anytime you need to. Let me just straighten yourself out a little bit. Okay, heels under sitting bones, hip distance apart, crown of the head to the ceiling, heels reach to the floor. Just notice your body now. Maybe it feels different than before class, maybe not, hopefully better. Maybe you feel a little taller, like you can reach the heels into the floor, crown of the head to the ceiling. We'll inhale the hands up towards the ceiling, exhale arms to the side, and you are done.